Welcome, comrade, to the fourth day of the final offensive. Just kidding. As you know, I spent the night in town of Bihac. Izet, as we agreed the night before, waited for me in the morning, and he took me with his car. First we visited the memorial park in the outskirts of the town. There is no road sign that shows you where you should turn, so it kind of took us a few minutes to find the road that goes from the main road to the left. It was very surprising for me because the design of the monuments resembled the Mayan sculptures that is on the opposite side of the globe. That memorial park is dedicated to the people who suffered dearly under the occupation. After Memorial Park, we sat in a car and he drove us to the partisan graveyard. Specific thing about partisan graveyards, there is always a monument, a small one, or sculpture or something that glorifies the working class, the people. Because after all, it was the people who brought the victory in the war. What I noticed is that someone put the picture of the commander-in-chief of the partisan forces during the World War II. It is the picture of Josip Broz Tito. If you don't know who that is, I strongly suggest that you Google it. And after the park, he took me to the museum. For some reason, museum in Bihac don't work on Mondays. It's not their working day. They do work on Mondays, but they're not open for the visitors for some reason. And luckily for me, Izet knows the director of the museum, so he entered inside. He had a few chats, explained what is the situation, that I will leave later that day. So they open up the museum just for me. And for me, it was like one of the best opportunities to take pictures because I was the only guest there. Everything was so clean, so neat, so well preserved that it felt like the session that was like almost 100 years ago, 80 years ago. It felt like the session will begin in 10 minutes or something. It was very nice to see that after the Balkan Wars, that museum stayed in one piece and intact. There are a lot of items that are exhibited there. Also, there are paintings hanging on a wall, and I don't know, it really was a unique experience being there, especially as I said, I was all alone. The director of the museum was kind enough to give me an original ticket that was selling during the peace period before the war, when it was the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. It is the true original. The ticket is 40 years old and it looks like brand new. How? I really don't know. After the museum, my new friend took me back to the motel, so I grabbed stuff, put it on the bike. We grabbed a how should I call it, a farewell coffee, and I was on my way continuing my journey, my little adventure. But what I forgot is the ID, my personal ID, that I left on the desk the night before, which will be important few days from that moment. So I continued my ride, and the goal is to get to town of Drvar. On my way to the final destination of the day, I stopped to take a picture of the monument on, I think the translation would be Honeyfield. It is called Medeno Polje, but I couldn't stay long. I took only a few pictures from the distance because that was the road that was elevated from the ground level, and it was slippery, and I couldn't go with the bike to park and to walk to the monument, and it was very dangerous for me just to stay on the side of the road. They are going a bit faster than a speed limit. They are kind of breaking the speed limits. About 2 hours later, maybe 3, I managed to get to the town of Drvar, and I found the place to stay for the night very quickly. But in that apartment that I rented for the night, there wasn't a internet connection. That was a bit problem for me because I wanted to prepare the text and prepare the photos to send to the web portal and to upload it on the forums. The idea is to do it daily. After I settled in the apartment, I went to visit the place where fascist forces made a huge attack on the Tito's headquarters. It was the part of the major offensive of the Axis forces on the town of Drvar, because Tito's headquarters, the, how should I say, commander-in-chief of partisans headquarters was there. And that was the moment when they nearly caught him. His headquarters was in the hut that was built on a very stiff side of the hill. The story goes that when the attack commenced, they were surrounded, but he managed to escape through the caves that goes through the hill. You can walk the part of it, but there was like bar door that you couldn't cross. It is locked. They say it was because of the safety reasons. And it is possible, but you cannot go further than that point. It is around 30 meters from the entrance of the cave. And the hostess of the museum told me that during the Balkan Wars, Croatian army used the monument, the colossal monument in the center of Drvar, and the hut on the entrance of the cave. They used it for the target practice. It was built exactly as it was 80 years ago. And of course there is a museum in the bottom of that hill, just below the Tito's cave, but it was Monday and that museum too wasn't open for the visitors. I didn't succeed in charming them to open up the museum just for me to take photos, but it is fine. So after that, I went to the apartment and crashed for the night. And I guess this is the end for the 4th day. For the next day, the idea was to go to the Croatia. And something very interesting happened on the 5th day of my adventure. So yeah, I hope you liked it. Drop some comments below how you liked the monuments. Do you like the architecture? Subscribe to the channel if you find this interesting, and I'll see you in the next video.